Most parents think the problem is how much time their kids spend on social media. But that's not actually where the real damage happens. I'm talking to you if your child has ever come home quieter than usual after scrolling through their feed. Or if you've noticed them comparing themselves to other kids, feeling left out, or suddenly anxious about how many likes they got. These moments feel small, but they're actually reshaping how your child sees themselves and the world around them. And here's what keeps me up at night about this: the damage isn't always visible. You won't see a broken arm or get a phone call from school. Instead, it shows up as self-doubt, as perfectionism, as a child who no longer feels comfortable being themselves. The thing most parents don't realize is that social media wasn't designed with your child's well-being in mind. It was designed to keep them scrolling. The platforms literally employ thousands of engineers whose entire job is to make the apps more addictive, more emotionally engaging, and harder to put down. When your child sees their best friend got invited to a party they weren't part of, and that moment lives forever in a photo, that's not accidental design. When they get a notification that someone liked their post, triggering a little hit of dopamine that makes them want to check again and again, that's intentional. The system is built to exploit the exact vulnerabilities that make childhood and adolescence so fragile. Think about what social media actually asks of a child. It asks them to curate a version of themselves, to present a highlight reel while everyone else is doing the same thing. It asks them to measure their worth in likes and comments and follower counts. For a kid whose brain is still developing, whose sense of self is still forming, this creates an impossible standard. And then there's the comparison trap. Your child isn't just comparing themselves to kids in their classroom anymore. They're comparing themselves to thousands of people, many of whom are adults with professional lighting, editing software, and years of experience presenting themselves online. The bar keeps moving higher, and no matter what your child does, they feel like they're falling short. What makes this even harder is that social media is also where your child's friends are. It's where the social currency happens. Missing it means potentially missing inside jokes, plans being made, conversations that define the social hierarchy at school. So you're caught between knowing it's not healthy and understanding that pulling your child off completely might actually isolate them socially. That's the impossible position modern parents are in, and I want you to know that that tension you feel is completely legitimate. The mental health impact shows up in specific ways if you know what to look for. There's increased anxiety, especially around posting content. Will people like it? Will they judge it? There's depression that often looks like withdrawal. Your child might seem bored or unmotivated because they're comparing their real life to everyone else's edited version and deciding their life isn't interesting enough. There's a spike in body image issues, particularly for girls, but increasingly for boys too. The constant exposure to filtered, edited images of what bodies should look like creates this impossible standard. And then there's sleep disruption, not just because of screen time at night, though that's part of it, but because of the anxiety and emotional activation that comes from being on social media before bed. I want to tell you about something I've seen happen in real families. There's a girl, let's call her Maya, who was 12 when her parents first got concerned. She'd been on Instagram and TikTok for about a year. Her grades were fine. She wasn't in obvious crisis. But her mom noticed that she'd started making comments about her appearance. She'd look at herself differently. And then one day, her mom was looking at her screen time report and saw that Maya was spending 3 to 4 hours a day on these apps. When her mom asked about it, Maya said, "But everyone's on it. If I'm not on it, I don't know what's happening." Her mom, trying to help, suggested cutting back. Maya got anxious, actually anxious, about missing things. What they didn't know was that Maya's brain was literally being trained to seek validation through these platforms. Her neural pathways were being rewired. The apps were winning. Here's what started to shift for Maya's family, and this might help you too. Her parents didn't ban social media. That would have made things worse. Instead, they got curious. They asked Maya real questions. Not the interrogating kind, but the kind where they actually wanted to understand. They asked her what she liked about being on these apps. What made her anxious? What would happen if she took a break? And through those conversations, they started to see what was really going on. Maya wasn't addicted to social media. She was addicted to the feeling of being connected, of being part of something. She was seeking validation because her sense of self was still forming, and the apps had become the place where she looked for evidence that she was okay. This matters because it changes how you approach the problem. If you see it as a screen time issue, you'll just try to limit time. If you see it as a validation issue, a belonging issue, an identity issue, you start addressing the actual wound. Now, this is where I want to pause and say something important. If you're feeling overwhelmed by all of this, by how complex it is, by how embedded technology is in your child's social world, you're not alone. Most parents are trying to figure this out in real time with very little guidance. There's a free Chapter 1 put together that goes deep into how to have these conversations with your child, how to set boundaries without creating shame or secrecy, and how to help them build resilience on social media rather than just cutting them off from it. It's linked in the description. It covers the specific language that actually works with kids, the mistakes most parents make, and a framework you can use this week. If this resonates with you, grab it. It's one of the most practical things I've created specifically for parents trying to protect their kids' mental health in a digital world. So, what does actual protection look like? First, it's about building your child's internal compass before, during, and after social media use. A child with a strong sense of self, who knows their own values and has genuine offline sources of belonging and validation, is far more resistant to the comparison trap and the validation-seeking cycle. This doesn't mean your child can't struggle, they will. It means they have something to anchor to when the algorithms are trying to pull them under. That internal compass gets built through real connection with you, not through lecturing or warning them about dangers, but through actually knowing them, knowing what they care about, what makes them laugh, what they're insecure about, what their dreams are. When you know these things, you can help them see when social media is distorting their sense of reality. You can say, "I've noticed you seem down. When do you feel better about yourself? Is it when you're on the app or when you're doing something else?" You're helping them develop awareness. Second is teaching media literacy in a practical, non-preachy way. This means helping your child understand how social media works. Not lecturing them about algorithms, but asking them to notice. Did you see that that post was actually an ad? Or how do you think that person edited that photo? Or do you notice how you feel after looking at that account for 5 minutes? You're training their brain to be a conscious consumer instead of an unconscious one. Kids who understand how they're being manipulated are naturally more resistant to it. Third is creating boundaries that actually make sense in your child's world. This might sound counterintuitive, but the most effective boundaries aren't the ones that feel like punishment. They're the ones that protect what your child values. So instead of saying you can only be on TikTok for 30 minutes, which feels arbitrary and creates sneaking around, you might say, social media comes off 1 hour before bed because we want your sleep to be good. And good sleep is how you actually feel confident at school. The difference is that the second one connects to something your child actually wants. You're protecting their sleep because it serves them, not controlling them because you're the parent. Where this gets really interesting is how you handle the content itself. Most parents either ignore what their kids are looking at or they scroll through and point out every problematic thing. Both approaches backfire. One misses the chance to teach. The other makes your child defensive and secretive. What actually works is creating space to notice together. Your child shows you something or you ask to see what they've been watching. You don't have an agenda except curiosity. You might ask, "Why do you like this account?" Or "What do you think about how that person presented themselves?" You're helping them develop critical thinking, not judgment. And here's something that really matters. You have to address your own relationship with social media. Your child is watching. If you're constantly on your phone, comparing your life to others online, seeking validation through likes and comments, they're learning that that's what adults do. They're learning that your worth is also something measured digitally. If you want them to have a healthier relationship with social media, you have to model it. That doesn't mean being perfect. It means being aware. It means occasionally saying out loud, "I notice I'm scrolling mindlessly. I'm going to put this away." You're showing them what healthy looks like. There's also the piece about what social media is replacing. Kids who spend hours on social media are not spending time doing other things. They're not getting bored enough to be creative. They're not having unstructured time with friends where they're actually talking instead of performing. They're not developing frustration tolerance because they can instantly switch to something else. The gap that social media fills is real. So part of protecting your child's mental health is making sure there are other things in their life that feel as rewarding. That might be a sport, an art, a hobby, genuine friendships where they're not thinking about how it looks online. It might be family time where phones aren't allowed. The thing that replaces the app can't be nagging about the app. It has to be genuinely more interesting. Now let me tell you about the deeper piece that comes when you actually start addressing this. I watched another family, this one with a 16-year-old son, make this shift. His mom started noticing that he was using Instagram and Snapchat constantly. He'd wake up and check immediately. He'd be on it during dinner. He'd be on it in bed. She was worried, but also didn't want to be the heavy-handed parent who just shut everything down. So she asked him something different. She asked, "What do you get out of being on these apps that you're not getting anywhere else?" At first, he couldn't articulate it. But over several conversations, he started to realize that social media was where he felt like he belonged. He wasn't super popular, wasn't on a team, didn't have a ton of close friends at school. Online, he found communities of people who liked the same things he did. He felt less alone. Once his mom understood that, she stopped trying to limit the app and started helping him with the loneliness. They talked about whether the online communities were actually meeting his need for belonging or just replacing it. They looked at whether he wanted to join a club or a team at school, not to replace social media, but to have another source of real connection. They talked about what real friendship looked like versus the performance of friendship online. He didn't immediately quit Instagram, but his use shifted. He was more intentional. He was using it as a tool for connection instead of a replacement for it. And his mental health started to stabilize. This is the difference between reacting to the problem and actually understanding it. One more thing that's critical, and I think this is where a lot of parents get stuck. You have to be able to sit with your child's discomfort sometimes. If they're anxious about not being on social media, about missing something, about being left out, that anxiety is real and valid. But it's not your job to make it go away by letting them stay on the app. Sometimes your job is to help them feel the anxiety and realize they're okay anyway. Sometimes missing something is fine. Sometimes being left out of something teaches you that you're still a worthwhile person. This is how resilience actually builds. Not by protecting them from discomfort, but by helping them move through it. Here's what I want you to remember as you navigate this. Your child's mental health in a digital world is not something that gets solved once and never again. It's an ongoing conversation, a constant adjustment, a perpetual balancing act between connection and protection. Some days you'll get it right. Some days you won't. And that's actually okay. What matters is that you're paying attention. You're asking questions. You're helping your child develop the skills and self-awareness to navigate a world that's actively trying to hijack their attention and their sense of worth. Your child is not broken if they struggle with social media. This is genuinely hard. And you're not a bad parent if you haven't figured it all out yet. You're just a parent trying to protect something precious in a world that's making it harder than it needs to be. But you can do this. And every conversation you have, every boundary you set thoughtfully, every time you help them notice how they feel online, that's you building a foundation that will carry them through this. That's you giving them the tools to eventually make wise choices about technology on their own. What's been your biggest struggle with this? What does your child struggle with most when it comes to social media? I genuinely love to hear in the comments what's been true in your family. These conversations help all of us figure this out together.